Thank you for taking the time to view this training session. In this session, we will provide an overview of Microsoft Azure pricing and configurations. MSDN customers get free Azure credits. Additionally, customers can enjoy lower rates with a 33% discount on Windows virtual machines and a 25% discount on cloud services, HD Insight, and reserved websites. There is no additional charge for MSDN software and virtual hard disks that customers upload themselves. Customers also get the flexibility to transfer Azure account services and benefits between different employees of the same organization. And your customers can enable team development by allowing team members to share the same subscription, enabling collaboration while also providing isolation between teams in the environment. Here are just a few examples of what the $100 per month credit could enable your customers to do. They could run 3 virtual machines for 16 hours each day, or use 80 virtual machines for a 20-hour load test. Obviously, your customers can do whatever they like with the credits. How do customers buy Azure? They can buy it with a credit card and pay as they use services, or they can sign an enterprise agreement. When they add it to an enterprise agreement, they pay up front, but they get a reduced price. Or they can buy it through open licensing, where they get a discount. They buy $100 tokens on Azure, and they just continue to buy tokens as they need more services. At a high level, Azure is an ever-growing bundle of distinct cloud services that customers can use across our network of global data centers. Each one of those services has its own costs associated. Each service has its own set of usage meters and prices. The typical way a cloud customer pays for these services on MicrosoftAzure.com is with a credit card once a month. But customers can also take advantage of licensing agreements like the Enterprise Agreement or Open License to save money and align licensing with their other Microsoft services. I will go more into detail on the monetary commitment option on the next slide. Any solution your customers deploy in Azure is going to consume a variety of these services, and each is charged via its own price and meter. For example, per gigabyte per month, per compute size per minute, and so forth. The monetary commitment is a prepay option for your customer's usage. It's a deposit for use on eligible Azure pay-as-you-go services, and it provides a short-term billing option within enterprise agreements. It enables customers to take advantage of potential offers, and it's good until the EA anniversary date, or a maximum of 12 months. This gives customers a use plan based on available pay-as-you-go services at the time of the commitment, but it can't be used on Azure plans support the store or other enterprise agreement products and services. Similar to Office 365, some Azure services have yearly subscription options. These Azure plans provide annual rights to a specific service or a suite of services, and the payment is through annual entitlement only. For example, the site recovery service enables backup and disaster recovery options, or there might be a suite of services like backup plus site recovery. As a reminder, Azure is charged based on various payment meters, for example, gigabytes per month, compute size per minute, etc. It is complex and sort of like a cell phone bill with a number of different charges accruing to a customer's total monthly price. As it relates to cloud pricing, Microsoft has announced publicly multiple times that they will not lose on price. I think you've all witnessed the price wars that are going on. 1 month after Amazon drops its price, Microsoft matches them. Then Microsoft drops the price, and Amazon matches Microsoft. The reality is, though, that Microsoft is committed to remaining competitive on price. A lot of customers purchase through their EA. They can bundle Azure into their existing EA, or they can do an Azure-only EA if they wish to. What that means is, depending on the level that they purchase, they get discounts or savings between 3% and 12% based on October 2014 pricing. The old discount for Azure starting at 27% is only valid for the Series A virtual machines, HD Insight, and Azure websites. Everything else in Azure falls into this category. Are you providing managed services on Azure? This is one area where Microsoft is hearing a lot of partner interest. You have the ability to purchase Azure for yourself. You can use it internally for your operations, demonstrations, dev and test, and for hosting your customer solutions, and become a hoster, only that your data center is Azure. There are no additional agreements for you to sign. There are no additional contracts for you to sign. You could buy an Azure EA for yourself or your company. Partners that own an Azure EA can host solutions for their customers. It accelerates the sales process, and it puts a lot more money in your pocket. What rights do you get? Basically, you can use it internally. You can host some special intellectual property that you've developed, or you can provide managed services or managed IT. However, you cannot, quote, white label Azure services and just resell Azure services. You have to have some management component or some intellectual property on top of Azure in order for you to resell that Azure consumption. Go to microsoftazure.com to access Azure calculators. Click on Pricing, then select the pricing calculator. The full calculator gives you everything. This is how you would price a standard virtual machine. For example, you can select the number of cores for processing power, how much RAM, and then you get a price. Linux machines, SQL machines, Oracle machines, all the services are on here. You can use the calculator to do a back-of-the-napkin type of cost estimation for the solutions that you are designing for your customers. Here's an example of a solution for a customer that wanted to replace its web app servers that are running on aging hardware. The customer wants the app to be highly available and reliable. If you know anything about Azure, you've got to deploy something with what we call an affinity group, so it's a minimum of 2. That's how a customer gets an SLA of 99.95%. So in this scenario, we have 2 app servers. For the domain controller, 2 standard smalls, some networking, some disk storage, some backup, and some estimated egress traffic. That's basically walking through that pricing calculator when you fill those things out. Here's another example. This customer wants to provide Active Directory authentication for its Office 365 users and the rest of the company. So the customer gets 2 standard small VMs to run the domain controller and some networking. Notice that the Active Directory components are basically free if you're an Office 365 customer. As mentioned before, prices indicated are in the US dollars based on pricing at the time this course was developed. Local prices may vary. Here's one more example. This customer wants to run scalable websites. Again, we configure 2 basic Azure website machines with some storage, geo-redundancy, some egress traffic, and a basic SQL Server machine to run its ASP.NET app. This is different. Azure Websites is more of a platform as a service offering, so the redundancy is built in. When you deploy a virtual machine, it is highly recommended that you create an affinity group. One last time, prices indicated are in US dollars based on pricing at the time this course was developed, and local prices may vary. Thank you for taking the time to view this module. We encourage you to review the other Microsoft Azure sales training modules as well.